Yeah, it's glasses on time, people. It's also August. How the hell is it August? It's August 2nd, 2023. It's a cranky comic book chat. I should just rename this the Tired Comic Book Chat because I'm tired. I'm just tired of reading bad books and mediocre books. I want to read great books, but there's most of them aren't great. So I'm going to cut down on what I read monthly. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take notes, which I never do. I don't watch my old videos. I don't take notes. I don't do any of these things. I don't research. I don't like plan ahead. I speak from the cuff. And I read things, I stack things, then I ramble on about things. But what I'm going to do, starting now, if I remember at the end of this video, I'm not going to do it live because it's boring. It's not live, it's taped. You know what I mean? It's not taped, it's digital. I'm going to make notes of books that I think might be worth reading in a trade paperback, and then I'm going to wait and look at the trade paperback when it comes out and see, like, especially if it's a first issue. I'm not going to necessarily follow everything down the rabbit hole and like give it two or three. I'm tired of spending the money. I don't have the room in my place for all these books, and most of which are garbage. And I don't want to. Yeah, it's not bringing me joy. It's not Marie Kondoing me. If you remember that old thing where it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So I'm gonna at least let you know which books I think I'm gonna wait for trade on, and I'll try and do that every week, and we'll see how that goes. Don't worry, there's gonna be some I'm gonna be like, no, it's god awful. I'm not reading anymore. Like quest number one, it's god awful. I'm not reading that anymore. This is written by it's an image book. It's written by Jonathan Luna, and art by Crystal Wood. The art is very stiff and feels digitally created. If it's not digitally created, I will eat this book. And look at all the words. Look at how verbose and non blah 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 it is. This is a couple get married. They're attacked by demons, and that's the basic plot. And people have to go rescue them. That's the first issue. It's very dull. It's very predictable. The ending is the most predictable, like cliffhangery ending I've read in a long time. This is apparently an ongoing book, and we'll see how long it makes it. I'm not reading it anymore. I do not care. Nothing about this gripped me. Everything about it just felt kind of wooden, and it's not. The setting was about the only thing. So it was not set in a Western realm, which I thought kind of interesting. But like everything else about this book bored the ever loving piss out of me. It really did. It like the artwork was blah. The action scenes were blah. And then the dialogue, it was just kind of like, yeah, okay, we all know what's coming in this. There was just no sense of excitement at all in this, and no sense of anything that brought me joy. So I will not be reading it any farther. I'm donezo. I don't care. I'm not going on this quest. So that's the worst book of the week. Oh yeah, I do this worst to best. If this is your first time watching, which welcome to the shit show, people. The second, yeah, okay. This one I'm gonna trade weight, and we'll see. I read the first arc and I liked it. I think I missed one of the second arc and I don't miss it. And this is a different artist on this arc that I don't like as much. This is Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. It's Jason Aaron writing. He writes long form stuff, and it's Lila Del Duca on the art with Tamara Bond Villain on the covers. I don't like the art. I don't care. And the story itself, it's what's it? I can't remember the name. Maceo and the other person. and yeah, the two of them have found like some sort of paradise that's a polyamorous lovers thing, but it's infected by shit. And it's interesting enough. Jason Aaron does know how to tell yarn. I really don't care for the art. Like Lila the Lucas arc really feels like a step down from the first arc to me, and it just really doesn't do much. And like the splash pages aren't very splashy and exciting. And actually, this arc of the story, which is all like it seems like it's lovers trying to make things work, which is great. What's one point in the end? It's a fairy tale at the end of the world. I get it. It's supposed to. That's pretty much Jason Aaron's thing in this story, and it's okay. So I'm gonna wait, and I'll see if it's collected, and then I'll make a decision on this one. This is the first one I'm gonna make a note of afterwards. Be like, Taylor, you dumb son of a bitch. Remember this. Remember this. I'm gonna put it in a different stack for now. Put it in the trade weight stack, and I'll trade weight it, and then I'll trade bait to it. Anyways, next, this one has taken forever to come out, and God, what a kind of weak sauce ending too. Justice Society of America #5. There's guest artists in here because of course there is, even though the damn book's been delayed forever. Huntress gets sent to the past and has to do with the JSA to like fix things, and that's this issue. I mean, the art itself I like. The art by the main art by Jonin or whatever, doesn't matter. Like, look, that's a cool splash page. It's great DC style. It's clean art and digitally colored, and precise. There's no real like sense of soul or humanity in a lot of DC stuff nowadays. Not that necessarily criticism, it's just kind of the way it is, and that's a lot of modern comics. It's just, it's fine, but this was such a weak sauce like ending to this arc and this whole thing. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, we waited forever for this dumbed down, wussified ending that's not really an ending. That's just kind of like seems rushed, even though we're 5 issues in, and stupid, and now sets up a thing where the Huntress doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to spoil that for you all, people, but yeah, not good. Not good. I mean, and there's a setup for a sequel or a new book, and I get it. It's Jeff Johns, and he's having fun, but I'm not. So this probably should have been like below Once Upon a Time in the Underworld, but I didn't like this issue of that one either. So they're kind of tied for, I will not be getting the next arc of this or the next iteration of it. But I might trade weight it or get it digitally. And that's the other option. I can always subscribe to DC Universe Unlimited, Extended, whatever the hell your mom pays for every year. That's where this is going. All right. And they managed to take a book that was fun and carefree and colorful and get rid of all the soul by giving a different writer and different artist. This is Strange Academy. Strange Academy Solved for X, 1 of 3, or Miles Morales, 1 of 3, whatever the fuck the title is. This is not written by Scotty Young. And it doesn't have the Scotty Young soul or the sense of joy or the handle on teenagers that Scotty Young has. And then it's not illustrated by Roberto Ramos, so it doesn't have that sense of fun. The illustrations are not bad. They're illustrated by what's his nuts, Juan Cabal, hang on, Juan Cabal, Alvaro Lopez, and Gaio Villanova artists. So sorry, I'm butchering the pronunciation. So there's numerous artists to this. I actually did not notice when they shifted artists, so that's something. Either that just says that there's no soul at all and everyone can do everything, or whatever. It's a strange adventure book. It has the characters, but it doesn't seem to have the personalities down of the characters that have been established in, 18 issues of Strange Academy. And there's new characters here. There's a new student, but I don't remember from the books, or they just treat him very differently than the books. And then there's new person they encounter with superpowers that, if you've ever read a story, ever, or watched a TV show, ever, or consumed any kind of media that's in a narrative form, ever, you will get the plot twist in this one, and it's not going to be a big shock. Like, it's just like, duh. This is a duh book. It's fine. Will I finish this one? No. Not enough. It doesn't make the cut. It doesn't bring me my Marie Kondo of joy. So maybe trade. Actually, you know what? I don't think I'm going to trade that with them. I don't think I give a shit. I don't think I do. I don't need to read every Strange Academy thing that ever comes out. I will wait until and if and when Scotty Young at least is back on the book, because I think the writing really suffered in this one. All right, next. This is the end of this saga, so I don't have to trade weight it. I probably should have if I was going by my new rules, but it is what it is. Adventures of Superman, Jon Kent, Dawn of DC. Yeah. Tom Taylor. This is actually a decent, satisfying ending. It's like Tom Taylor's little thesis on what Superman should be versus what the dark and gritty is, and the art is by, who is the art by? Henry. Yeah, hang on, Clayton Henry. Look, it's clean, it's soulless, it's DC. There's not a out of place line anywhere in the book. It's fine. It's what DC has been doing lately. Everyone tries to look like everyone else, and it's the new DC house style. And this is Jon Kent versus the Injustice League, or that have been set up in the other old books and games and whatever the hell. And this is the ending of this one. It's a 6-issue mini. It's an effective ending, actually. This is not bad. It does give Jon Kent sort of, like I said, it does tell the story of Jon Kent as Superman, and this is where Jon Kent becomes Superman. So yeah, it's all right. It's not amazing. I wish it ended a bit differently, but I get why it ended the way it did. So that one does not have to be trade weighted because it is not. I'm not going to trade buy it after I already read it. I'm not that idiotic either. All right, next we have a one shot. Sandman Universe Special Thessaly, which I kind of gave up on the Dead Boy Detectives and stuff, and this is kind of tied into that. This is a one shot with Thessaly, who's the witch that kind of banged Sandman back in the day. And this is James Tynion the Fourth writing, and this is in sort of one shot, which is nice. So I don't have to trade weight anything, and it's sort of like a thesis on what's a life worth living and stories. So the stories thing ties into Sandman pretty well, and so does the life worth living part. And like this is about Thessaly, sometimes from her perspective, sometimes from the perspective of a character named Tommy who's in it. The art is by Maria Lovett, and it's sort of sketchy, and it's not awful. Although, where is it? You see here in the bottom corner, that's her name. And she does this in every page. And sometimes it's hidden-ish by the colorist or the ink job or something like that. And sometimes it's just out in the open and really distracting as like a floating like signet ring or whatever, like stamp. Like here, you see here, that's her name. I maybe other artists do that, but I have not ever really noticed it, that other artists will sign every single fucking page. And it's really, really irritating. It was enough to really distract from the story in a lot of ways, even and distract from the art, which I didn't hate the art. But like once I realized like every page is gonna have that little mark on it somewhere, and like she was counting, I think, on the inker and the colorist to like hide it. Man, it bugged me. And I maybe it shouldn't. I don't know. Maybe signing one's art is good, and maybe it's a vanity thing, and maybe I'm just an old fuddy duddy and whatever. But I think you can still have copyrightable work without signing it. You just sign the bottom of the page when you sell the original thing. It's a fucking irritating thing. And then the story itself, not bad. It's James Tynion. I like this better than his drawn out shit. The Dead Boy Detectives like I gave up on, and like some of the other stuff. Like he tells it's not necessarily a one and done because the main character story is not really wrapped up, and it does go tie back into another series that apparently is ongoing that I gave up on. That I don't know how long it's been on hiatus or whatever. It doesn't matter. But yeah, it's decent. This is about where I put it in the rankings. I have like 4 books. No, I have. Yeah, I have 4 books, 3 other books to read. Or 3 other books on this list. So it's fine. It's not amazing, but it's fine. And next, all right, we have Moon Knight number 26 with Jed McKay and Sabatino on the art. Sabatini is a fill-in artist and a fill-in story on a fill-in book. Jed McKay is still writing it. This is the story of the Hunter's Moon, and you kind of learn a little bit of the origin of Hunter's Moon. There's a trolling page by Jonathan Hickman in here, who's given writer credit for a page, which just amused the shit out of me. If you buy the book and read the book and can figure out the page he wrote, it'll probably make you laugh as well. But yeah, my God, all right, like, well played, Jonathan. Anyways, but yeah, this is a sort of. I'm hoping it's a kind of one and done, and it goes back to Moon Knight after this. But this is like a Hunter's Moon adventure where he's talking to a therapist and then recounting a tale, fairly standard tropey setup. But the actual iteration of Hunter's Moon is pretty interesting. It's the other fist of Khonshu. And so the fact that Moon Knight, that Khonshu, the god, has 2 fists is kind of an interesting idea. And I like the Hunter's Moon character that Jed created. I actually don't mind this iteration. I don't mind this issue of it. I do wish Cappuccino was on the art. Sabatini's art is not bad. It feels a lot like Cappuccino or Cappuccini or whatever the fuck the other guy's name is. But it's just kind of not quite there, and there's a little bit too heavy-handed in some of the digital half-toning in places that feels out of place in this style of book. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can make it out there, but I'm trying. And yeah, that just doesn't really seem to fit the rest of the art, and so I don't know. You're blaming the inker on that? I think he's inking his own stuff, so whatever. Yeah, definitely. It's all digital. It's all, and I get it. It's digital is the fast way to go, and stuff. And like the coloring is just really dark in places, which is not helped by the extreme amount of inks. So like, oh, so Sabatini's doing all of it. No, Rochelle Rosenberg is doing the art coloring, but it's fine. it's a good tale, but I wanted to go back to Moon Knight. Jed McKay's hit or miss for me. I really don't like a lot of the other stuff he's done with Marvel that much, but I like his Moon Knight. And then, am I doing? You know what? I'm going to do it this order. This is not the end of this, but it's getting there. And I would have trade weighted it if I would have known better, just because it's not a book I need to own individually. It's Peacemaker Tries Hard. It's a funny book. Written by Kyle Starks, art by Steve Pugh. This is like basically the HBO Max or whatever the heck it's called version, the John Cena version of Peacemaker. The kind of bumbling moron, buffoonic, character. Drawn really well by Steve Pugh. Steve Pugh really captures the character and like does an effective job of relaying the John Cena look to the page. And Kyle Starks makes it a really entertaining book. And you get the Red Bee in here, who's a character I'm not familiar with. And then like some old Black Hawk things, and then Snowflame, everyone's favorite cocaine-fueled villain, makes a return. Spoilers. And it's just fun. It's a lot of fun. I think there's only like one issue left of this. Otherwise, I really would have just waited and gotten it in trade because like I'm trying to save money, and we're talking $5 an issue, probably a $15 trade. So like $25 versus 15. It's just math, people. Math. Something I would have. I went to art school and I didn't do well at math, but anyways, yeah, it's good. It really is. It's and like if anything, this issue got maybe a little too jokey, like a little bit in places. But yeah, it's Peacemaker, and I think the Red Bee going to rescue Bruce Wayne from trouble Bruce Wayne has gotten themselves in, or Bruce Wayne was kidnapped. But this is maybe not the Bruce Wayne you're thinking. It's fun. It's a fun book. All right, next and last, and I will give this one another monthly issue, and we will see how it goes from there. It's my favorite book of the week. It's got an interesting setup and interesting character so far. It's The Sacrificers. Rick Remender and Max Fumara on the art. It's a new start of a fantasy tale where like there's two stories that I'm guessing are going to get woven together, but they're not woven yet. It's slow and methodical, and there's like different species on this. There's a bird species that are anthropomorphic and act like the peasant people. And then there's sort of fire people that are a ruling class, I believe, and maybe it's the same planet, maybe it's the same world. It doesn't really become clear in this one. This is mostly a setup book. You learn what the Sacrificers are in here. I don't want to give it away. It's not the biggest surprise reveal of all time, but it is. What this does that the quest did not do is set up a fantasy world effectively. And it got me interested and it got me hooked where I'm like, okay, I want to know more. I like this. I'm intrigued by the setting, and I'm intrigued by the art, and I'm intrigued by the pacing and the tale well enough that I'm going to give it one more. And that's sometimes all you can ask. It's not anywhere near as wordy. You can tell Rick Remender has written more of these kinds of books. And it does have some of like the darkness and the kind of evilness that he likes to inject in his characters where they're not all good. And that's, I appreciate some of the moral grayness of some of the characters in here. And I like Max Fumara's art a fair amount too. It's not going to change the world. It reminds me a little bit of Daniel Warren Johnson, but not quite as vibrant or dynamic as Daniel Warren Johnson, but I like it quite a bit. This is my favorite book of the week. It's going to get at least one more week for me. So, one more month. Yeah. So, there you go. That's what I've got. Let me know what you think of my idea to not buy as much shit or read too much shit. If I do that, my plan is then to do separate reviews of the trade paperbacks too. So, we'll see. I don't know. Don't be a dick even if you're just really tired. And I know I've probably used that line before, but it's true. I am just wiped this week. I'm up at the ass crack of dawn. Contract painters that are working on a friend's house. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You don't care. You don't need to know my life story. It doesn't affect you in one way, shape, or form. Don't be a dick. I'll see you.